Hello and welcome back to TED Talks about self-responsibility as the main force behind personal reality. You may ask yourself, well, what does this have to do with me? What does this mean to me? And I say, absolutely everything. It is the key to you having a happy, fulfilling life. Most of us hear these words, oh, you need to be more responsible, you need to be more self-reliant, but no one explains to you why or even how. I intend to, over the course of my last 40-odd episodes, I have been trying to prepare you for today and next week's Truth Talks. My goal has always been one thing, and that is to invite you to begin a search or a quest for your own self-enlightenment. Self-enlightenment, self-awareness, self-respect, self-truth, self-discovery are interchangeable with the words self-responsibility. Without understanding who you are, you'll never be able to proceed in life as an individual. You'll be a clone, or you'll be a zombie, or you'll be a member of the Walking Dead, or you'll be a tool of someone else's vision or convictions. My intentions have always been to get you to search inside for the real you. I happen to discover the rhyme and reason and the true and real purpose and meaning for being the unique individual I am. It took a lot of mistakes, a lot of bad decisions to get me to the point that all you have to do is just enjoy doing the right thing. Now, you say, well, what is the right thing? Well, the world is divided into right and wrong, good and evil, good choices, bad choices. I believe that I have been able to lay out in my book, Slow Down in Love, Volume 1, Self-Enlightenment, and it's a free ebook. It's simple to download. Just go to tedtorog.com. It's in the description. And download this book and begin to understand how, through my mistakes, I eventually discovered that the bottom line was you just had to smile, grin and bear it, and enjoy doing the right thing. Now, this is where the problem begins. What is the right thing? Well, all too many and oh so many believe that their self-centered, me first point of view is the right way to proceed. Now, history has shown that many leaders, many pharaohs, many kings, many monarchs, many dictators, many arrogant leaders have believed that their view or their vision of the future was better than the present. I always believe that it's better to build on the present than it is to wonder and imagine what the future might be like, because the future will get here as you build on day-to-day present realities. Our current government is trying to reshape and remold America in an image that is one designed and shaped by liberal progressivism. Our president truly believes he is doing the right thing. And in order to do the right thing, he has relied so much on deception and falsehoods and out-and-out lies. But he, I believe, actually believes he's doing the right thing. My book explains to him, as well as to you, why any decision that you make that does harm to another or infringes on the individual rights set out by our founding fathers is the wrong thing. And currently our leaders are pursuing self-centered, self-interest views that they believe to be true, as others disagree. Now, we know that the president has 20% of the liberal thinkers who are going to believe and do and say and drink the Kool-Aid offered by him. And then there's another 30-odd% that are dependent upon the government. And as the government grows bigger and bigger and larger, this number of dependents grow and grow and grow. The downfall of the Roman Empire came as the government began to impose more rules and regulations, and they weakened their military, and they taxed the people more and more and more, until outside evil forces came in and caused a decline and fall and eventual collapse. Well, that is what's happening to America. America was given an opportunity to be the leader of all humanity. People came from all over the world to America, to the melting pot, where their differences could be blended and accepted, and an opportunity was there for them to pursue their vision of happiness. However, during the last 100 years, as liberalism and progressivism has replaced Marxism and communism and socialism and fascism and materialism as the religion of the liberal-minded people that are trying to reshape reality, things have gotten worse. Right now, evil has raised its head in the Middle East and is taking over closed-minded people who know not what they do. They are so susceptible to being led and guided. They are the zombies, they are the walking dead, or else they would not commit the savagery and the barbaric crimes that they pursue and do every day. I am absolutely appalled when I go on Twitter and I see a father holding his headless 3-year-old child, or a dozen heads spiked on fence rows, and many people being hung, and women sold into slavery, and the war on women that we pretend is here is absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous in light of the reality that these poor people have to go through. We have become so complacent. We have become so selfish, we have become so self-centered that nothing matters besides our looks, our clothes, our music, our so-called friends. Because, listen, your so-called friends will be the first one to turn on you in a pinch if it comes down to that. I've seen it so many times in my 71 years. The only person you can rely on is yourself first. And if you don't understand yourself, you're going to make poor choices. And your choices of friends are going to be the first mistake. And your choices for a belief system can be another mistake if you do not understand yourself. I began my search after I made some very bad decisions that put me in prison for 23 months. I explain all that in my previous episodes. I explain it in detail in my book. But for some reason, I thought that, as soon as I got on the internet, people would want to change. People would want to be happy. They would want to have a better day tomorrow than they did today. They wanted to, I believe all of us want to make a better life for our children. In the book I describe, I had the opportunity to travel all over the world for a period. And no matter where I went, every single parent wanted their children to have a better life than they did. However, for the first time in history in America, that might not be the case. We are taking from the rich to supplement the poor, and in the process we are destroying the spirit and dream that America was founded upon. I truly believe we have to help those that are less fortunate and downtrodden, but I do believe there are better ways to do it. Work is the best way, and I do believe that we have natural resources that we are stewards over that we can use. Now, the liberal progressives believe that we shouldn't use fossil fuels. For some stupid reason, they have been brainwashed and programmed to believe that it is nothing but bad. But if they would look at it from a more universal point of view, in 50 years, I believe some brilliant young man, alive or not even born yet, will discover a replacement for fossil fuels. And all this money we're wasted on trying to come up with alternative fuel sources is doing nothing but draining money from our poor, unprivileged class. Now, everyone's talking about currently, oh, everyone has white privilege. It's not white privilege, it's rich privilege. Those with money can afford to be aloof and detached, and in most cases not even concerned with what's going on in the real world, because otherwise these there's my dog Willie sticking her 2 cents in. She agrees that otherwise these rich people would be taking their millions and millions, instead of buying 10 homes, they'd be building hospitals and schools and get back into the communities that raise them and do good, instead of doing some selfish materialistic thing for themselves. There are many that do, but so many more don't. Our privileged rich class in Hollywood and the music industry, the pundits who make a living off of opinion, are missing the point. They are trying to push their point of view and what they have been programmed and led to believe, and I am trying to get you to break away from them. I'm trying to get that 50 or 60% of America that still isn't lost to the privileged class, and it still aren't pushed into the dependent class, where they depend on the government for their shelter and their food. I've been there. I've been to the point where I didn't know I was going to be able to pay my rent, and I've lost things, and I've had power turned off, and I've run out of gas on a highway when I didn't have enough money to pay for it with my children in tow. And I know what so many Americans are feeling right now. In most of it is pain, and a lot of it is turning into anger. During these protests, during the Ferguson riots, you see the anger, and you see it in the protesters' comments where they hate police. They don't trust the police. Well, without the police, every city would be like Chicago. And by the way, Chicago has been run for 60 years by liberal progressives, as well as Detroit, as well as every failing community in America has been run by this collective viewpoint that government is better for you than your own individual choices and freedom. Now, I apologize for the way I look, and I apologize for not coming on my scheduled January 11th talk, because I had an accident and hurt my back, and I've been on crutches for the last several weeks, and that's the reason I look this way. It's difficult for me to even shave, but I could not let another week go by without making this talk, because everything on TV is even getting worse. The President made a State of the Union speech and said everything was hunky-dory, peaches and cream. Well, get your butt down in the streets where people are killing each other. Parents and mothers and children are crying because they can't and they don't know how they're going to make ends meet. And everything's just fine and dandy. Well, it isn't. I lay out in my book solutions, and the solutions are based on you and you beginning a search for your own self-identity in this grand scheme of things. And I believe I can help you. So I think that this might be a good place to stop, because I'm going to try and get on once more before the Super Bowl. But I do really invite you to go to tedtorok.com, download the free book. It's Kindle and in EPUB versions, and you can easily delete it if you don't agree with anything. But what if I'm right? What if I have stumbled upon such an easy solution to our problem, and that is you? So until we meet again, as always, Godspeed.